Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Empath Sisters. I'm Bev.
I'm Shelly.
Welcome today, everybody. We are so excited for you to join us. Shelly and I have a very special guest coming on today, and I would love to introduce her. Her name is Frances Liu. She is an intuitive business mentor, a direct sales coach. She is also a Reiki practitioner, paid to be you facilitator, and uses human design, breath work, energy, and mindset shifting techniques in her work. So sounds really amazing.
Yes.
Along with her extensive experience in sales, leadership, building, and online marketing, she combines mindfulness, spirituality, and with proven simple business strategies to help women feel confident to make aligned decisions, to lead and create an impact through entrepreneurship. So I'm so excited to bring Frances on today. How are you?
Yes, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today. I'm so excited.
We
So
are
are
so
we.
excited. Yes, we are so excited. So Frances, what is human design? How do you incorporate that into your work?
Oh, human design. Well, human design, there's a lot into it. So, but first off, the real big tool for human design is the self-awareness that it brings to many. So first off, human design is actually like a personality tool similar to like Myers-Briggs, if people are familiar with that. And it's fairly like new concept, but incorporates a lot of old wisdom modalities. So are you ladies familiar with like I Ching, or like this is the chakra system and astrology? So it kind of combines all of that into this whole human design system.
Nice.
So yeah, it gets me so excited because if you know, a lot of your listeners are probably more inclined about like astrology and spirituality and like learning more about ourselves, and this is what human design really gives, is like giving us the self-awareness of like who we are. But you know, like as a system, human design gives us more based on how we respond to the world around us, based on how we were built and our design, our core design, how we interact with work, business, and relationship. Because you know, like it's not just like how I apply it to work. When I'm doing business, we deal with people, right? So there's a lot of relationship that comes with that, and then the environment too, like where we work, how we work in that environment. There's a comfort, or like that just feels good to us when we're working in that certain environment. And human design actually can show you which kind of work environment is in alignment to you and will feel good and right for you. And so it's like, you know, I talked to Bev about this, like how her center is very much has that grounded feeling, and it's very what was the word that I use, very intimate. And so and funny enough, when I was, you know, we'll talk about this later with her reading, is that it matches with the kind of environment where she thrives in her work and possibly even in her family life, right? And that's how it is with the human design. It incorporates what is right for you, but giving you that awareness based on like based on that, like what is right for you and how you can apply that in every day, so that you're continuously in alignment or flowing, instead of being resistance. Because you know, like we've been built to think from our mind rather than using our body system. And like there's so much about human design that can really go deep in there.
Well, and even using that.
Yeah, sorry, Bev. I was just going to say, I'm sorry sorry about interrupting, but it's interesting because, you know, the more that we know and what's out there, the better for us, right? So it's interesting, and I'm very excited to find out, because like you said, we tend to think in our mind and not in our body, and that is so true. We don't, you know, feel into our body of what is right and what's wrong. So
Totally.
yeah.
And when we're using that thinking state, oftentimes what I find with the clients or students, anything, like when we're in that thinking state, we're a lot of times going just against the flow, right? We're not leading by intuition and just going with that feel state. We're going through the think state, which can get us into lots of trouble and in places and situations that aren't in alignment for us. And that's why there's that struggle, or just doesn't feel good. It feels gross, or we hate it, or it's like, you know, and so we want to lead by that, you know, with our intuition. And so, you know, hearing more about this human design and the makeup and kind of how it all comes together is just really knowing more about yourself and listening more into that feel state to go with the right environment that's in alignment for you. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm so excited to hear more about it. So how do you use this in your work, Frances?
Well, this in my work, because, you know, like we talk about like listening to our body and listening to our intuition and our guidance, like from our body, but all of us are actually built different, right? So even though we have the internal system of our intuition, it still gives us, like, you know, Shelly decides differently than Bev, and I decide differently than Bev as well. So all of us have a different way of doing things. So especially when we're doing it with our businesses or our partners and relationship, the more we actually know how this decision making works, the more we are feeling confident with these with when things comes up. And so in my work, I use this on a daily basis, and I still kind of also have to relearn my own way of making decision that makes me feel confident too, right? So and I teach this with my clients or even people that I meet, because the more you are self-aware, the more you become more self-confident, and therefore building self-trust. And then, you know, you can then create decisions where you don't second guess yourself, or maybe if not just like 100% not second guess, but at least gives you that ability to like make quick decision that does not give you like 2 weeks of deciding on what course of action you need to make, you know, like that kind of stuff. So I use this as an entrepreneur, because that's one of the key points of being a business owner. Sometimes you have to think on your on a quick decision making, or that is alignment to you. And then being faced with many, when you're having a lot of people telling you what to do, it's easy to be swayed by those externals. But if you're self-aware and you are aware of your strategy and authority in human design in business, and which is how I do it, it's like now I can go like, okay, wait a second, you know, Bev has this option, Shelly has this option. Instead of like saying yes to everything, I can now quickly go back into what is my strategy or authority in my design that will help me make that decision that is right for me, without being impulsive, without being saying yes to everything. Because I have that tendency, because I have that in my design, where it's natural for me to just say yes to everything. And so
I was laughing earlier when you were saying that, because I was thinking, that's for me, because I am the one that can't make a decision.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to dive into your reading for sure, because like business owners, moms, like everyone, the more just like, it's just the way it works. Like the more self-aware you are, the more easier we become with our decision making, and the happier we become as well, because like, you know, we're in a state of flow. And when we're in a state of that, you know, the lesser the resistance, right? So when I do my work, and I'm constantly also learning more about my design as I go about things, it's also easier for me to just like know which one actually lights me up, or which one is a should, right? So and that's, you know, and that limits my way of like saying yes to everything just because I'm trying to please somebody else. Now I can go back to my design and say, okay, this one feels good to me, so I can actually get more excited, and then the flow starts because I'm excited, right?
Of course. It's like leading with your own intuition, as opposed to just going with the mind thinking, okay, well, I should do it to please this person, but yet that of course doesn't feel in alignment with us because we're doing it for somebody else. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that,
And even like, and I'll give myself an example, like when I'm deciding on whether I should do a breathwork workshop and when I should do it, like there's that should in there, right? And then, but then I can say to myself, okay, wait a second. So my strategy is a wait to respond strategy. I don't necessarily go after things. I need that opportunity to say yes and have an option so that I don't say yes to everything. And so then I can tell myself, wait a second, let me just like ground myself. So how does my body say during these options? And then that helps me make more aligned decision in that course of action, and then I can be confident. So it helps with that in a business sense and in my work as well personally.
Nice.
Okay.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Shelly was like commenting about like how this is like you have the tendency to like say yes to everything or something.
Well, no, mine more for me, it's what you were saying. Like I literally don't feel into my body. I do automatically think in my mind, but at the same time in my mind, I second guess. Like when you said second guess, that's all I do. Right. So it doesn't matter what I decide or what I say or any of that. It literally is like, was that right? Like I'm so indecisive that like it really does affect everything that I say or do. There are times, yes, I'm like, yes, okay, this is good for me, but it's very rare. Like it really is, because I am, as you guys know, I'm an air element for one, and I'm a Libra. So a Libra needs to be balanced all the time. So I literally like it is like I'm on a scale and I'm like I do pros and cons a lot. Yeah. And they sometimes don't help me. They really don't, because I'm in my head, right? So I'm not actually like feeling into my body like what's right for me. So it is a difficult thing for me. And I was listening to what you were saying, and I actually have a question about this. And it's like, how do you make yourself, go into that space? Like you were saying, like you need to just kind of go into how you feel, or like take a moment, but not everybody does that, right? Yeah. Everybody kind of just goes, okay, well, I'm just doing it, or no, I'm not going to do that, and then stop themselves from, moving forward, right? So how do you do that? Like, how do you tell someone to do that?
So both of you, Bev and Shelly, like you have two different strategy actually on like learning to tune in on your decision making and how you process information. So tendency, like when you receive that information in front of you, Shelly will be like, oh my God, there's so many, like, like
like a restaurant menu. I'm like, uh-oh.
Oh yeah.
Right. So we all have this different way of like deciphering this information, and that's going to look into your chart later on how this works. And then when you have this information, you can use a different kind of authority that different from Bev. Bev will make a different way of making decision than you. And for you specifically, Shelly, it's like it's getting into like learning to actually listen to like your gut instincts, right? More like there's actually a specific sound in your body that comes out when you know it's right.
Yes. And I will say that does happen to me a lot, where I have it in my gut and it's telling me, and I'll do the opposite. Yeah. But I do the opposite, and then I'll go, dang, why didn't I just
yeah.
Because then it's like, you should have listened.
And that is good practice that you're aware of that, because that's how you're knowing like, hey, what does that feel in your body when you did feel it, and then you go against it, right? And then because then the next time it happens, if that feeling exists again, you can now correct it and say, okay, that one last time I remember that actually led me to like whatever frustration, And then when I actually listen, it actually feels really good. These kinds are the signal in your body that gives you that more aligned decision making, so that you don't go like, oh my God, look at, what did you just do, Shelly?
I know. I really wish though that I would learn to listen to it, because I literally do go against it a lot. And then I go, God, like, and then I get really mad at myself or frustrated or whatever with myself, because it's like, why do I do that? And but then I still second guess, so it is a little bit harder for me a lot of times. And I really do believe it's because of what sign I am and elements.
And this is the nice thing of the human design as well. Because, like with Myers-Briggs, it's a personality tool, it's a self-awareness tool. But Myers-Briggs and some other ones are very subjective, because you have to answer like specific question. But with human design, it uses your birth information, so like birth date, location, birth time, so it's very specific to you. And then the system as well, like the whole reading incorporates like astrology, so where all of those signs and planets fall into you, so it incorporates who you are, whether you're a Libra, all your air signs, where does that fall. And it has, like, if you go in depth into a reading, it really tells you what are the things that you have to watch for that gives you the tendency to take you out of alignment, which, like, how do you doubt yourself? What are the typical things in your design? Like I show it as a body, because in the chart, it looks like a body. And so where in your body does that feel like that it takes you out there? What is the sign? I call it like signpost that gives you like inkling that this is not right for you, but you have the tendency because of conditioning to do that. And so with astrology, because it's part astrology, it shows that in your reading, and the in-depth reading, where that sits. So it considers you that you are a Libra, and where you as a Libra find that balance and still maintain your decision making, where it's quick, it's easy, it's these things, right? And so even with Bev too, like if she's a Capricorn, does she act as a Capricorn based on like on a design level, or like on an external level? Like does she puts that out there, right? So like the human design reading really shows you all your uniqueness, not as a subjective level, but more on a really core level, because we all know how astrology is. Like it's everyone's different, everyone's unique. When you're born, not everyone aligns with the planets and stuff. So it shows that and it incorporates all of that in your design.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I was going to say, for Shelly, even asking Frances about, how do you teach somebody to do these things? What I feel like is, just based off of hearing how this all works and how you work with your clients, Frances, is that I feel very much like you take the information, you plug it in, you get their signpost, as you're saying, and then it's, bringing that and going over that and bringing that awareness to your clients. And then, of course, as I always say, the more awareness you have, we can make change. Otherwise, we can't change it. So, and then I feel like for Shelly today, if you're having a reading and you're getting this information, then it might be something for you that you have, that maybe it's just extra awareness. Right. And then maybe from there, you'll be able to just like apply that into practice each time. Mm-hmm. Just as I feel like how Frances is probably at this point going, she knows now in her work, it's like, I want to do all the things, they're like, wait a minute, just relax, and then, because she now knows, like, I need to pull back and look at this, because she knows the tendencies and then can make a more aligned decision for herself. And so I would say that's probably what I would imagine it would be like for anybody that you have a session with, that, you're just giving them more in-depth information about their design and their makeup and how they show up in the world and what they're putting out into the world, and then being able to apply that into their business and probably other things in their life as well. So this will be so cool to see if it like shifts something for Shelly as well. Because I mean, I was laughing so hard because it just reminded me of a story when Shelly and I were together in Lethbridge ago.
It
And we
could
were
be
trying to
anything with me.
make a dinner decision.
Which story is this?
Oh my gosh. We were going for supper and we couldn't make a decision at her house. So we were like, okay, well, why don't we just go there and we'll get takeout. She had to think about it. And she would listen to everybody's like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. And she'd be like, oh, but that sounds good. Yeah, but that sounds good. That sounds good. But then she didn't know what she wanted because what everybody else was getting sounded so good. And then she was like, but I kind of want all of those. I don't know. And so we just made her think about it all the way, you know, until we got there. And we were literally parked and both of the restaurants were right there. And she still couldn't decide while we were in the car. And we're like, bye, Shelly. So like somebody, like a couple people went in this place, a couple of us went in this place. And Shelly was like, yeah, she came with us and she still stood there and was like looking at the menu, like a poor thing.
Ordered everything.
So for Shelly, that's the, you know, just the example I wanted to share of like how hard it is for Shelly to make a decision. Like she, like, no kidding. Like I feel bad for her because it's like, it's just a meal. Like it's just pick one. You love them all. It's got to be so good.
Exactly it. And that's why I brought up a restaurant menu. It literally.
That's why I was like, oh my gosh, I remember.
And some people will be reading the menu and they'll say, oh, yeah, I think I might get this. And I go, oh, what's in it? And then they'll tell me and I'll be like, oh yeah, that does sound good. And then I'll read something else and I'm like, but that does too. I don't, you know, it is super hard. And it's not just restaurants. Like it could be anything.
Anything. It's everything, terrible. Anything. Yeah. So this, I'm really excited to see how this is going to play out for us today. I know Frances is going to share with us a little, I think, read on our makeup for Shelly and I, and I'm really excited to hear all of this. I'm super excited
too.
Yeah. Well, so going from all of that, like we are going to definitely start with Shelly's chart.
Awesome. Sorry. No, it's all good.
We can take a look at how that looks on and talk about how it resonates. So, because I want to make a note as well about how human design works. So, you know, sometimes, you know, self-awareness and you see that's what it looks like on paper. And then we're like, oh, I gotta be that. So the human design is an empowerment tool. So it doesn't it's not a limitation tool. It doesn't mean that just because somebody tells you this is what it is, it has to be you, but it's a guidance, right? Like, so it helps you see, okay, so if this resonated about like not making that decision, it gives you like lots of ideas but you're feeling good about yourself, feeling like you're in that flow and alignment and things, and that's you're doing what your body's calling you to do. So just a reminder that just, you know, it is a tool, it is a blueprint, it is giving you more awareness, that is not ideas, more awareness on how that resonates with you, right? So, and then you can apply it in bits by bits, because one of the other things that I want to note is that because we've been conditioned a different way for such a long time, when a self-awareness tool comes into your hand, it doesn't mean you got to apply it all the way right away, right? Yes. So when Shelly, when you asked me about how you can learn to tune in to yourself this way and making this decision making where it's easier for you, right? It's a practice. And just like every self-awareness, it's like it's just giving you that awareness and to practice in a daily small bits by bits so that you can learn to start making those bigger decisions based on your aligned way. And so, you know, like it's not a limitation. It's not meant to be another should. It's not meant to tell you, oh my God, you don't do your design, you know, like it's not reprimanding you just because it's there. Again, it's an empowerment tool. And it's just giving you more ways to feel good on, you know, make you feel good about yourself, because you are perfect as you are born with all of this, and you can decide on how this looks in your life.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I also want to say too, like, I know this is, you know, a little bit not off topic, but it's also something that I would like to mention is that it's for anything, because, you know, like we as light workers and empaths and things like that, like we do have to remind ourselves that this isn't like something that you like when you even, for example, if you go for a reading, right? So like, you know, if the reader is telling you, oh, I see that, you know, whatever is in the reading, and you go, oh my God, it's going to really happen. Like, but you have to remember this is just a prediction, like it's not, or like another tool just to be aware, like, you know, things like that. But there are some people out there that like really take that as like, okay, I have to do this. Like, this is part of what I have to do. And I'm glad that you said that this is just an awareness and it's like another tool that,
Yeah. And
you know,
the more you unravel your
Mhm.
human design, it actually just keeps getting you, like it just keeps directing you
right.
what is right for you. And Bev, even like as soon as Bev started talking, she was living in her design as well. Right away, she kind of put everything together and just like have this one systematic way of like seeing things. It's so beautiful to see, because I'm like a manifesting generator and Shelly is actually a manifesting generator. So we both have that energy of like like big, like it just expand, and Bev has an energy or an aura that just kind of focus and absorb. So she gathers all of it and puts it in one cohesive thing. And
Right.
so that's exactly what Bev did just a few minutes ago.
Yeah,
Where she gathered all manifesting generator and just like, hey, let me just pull you back.
We just rein you all in here, and then we'll just direct it this way and this plan.
Yes. Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
Awesome.
Well, I can definitely start talking about Shelly's chart here.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, I'm excited.
What that looks like.
Okay, sure. Yeah, definitely.
Take a look. So excited.
Do you need me to?
Yeah, let's put that into. And I can share my screen, so if people are watching this on YouTube, they can see what that looks like too.
Yeah,
I'm just going to move my camera a little bit here because I can't see where to change it. So I will make you do this. Okay. There you go. That should be perfect.
All right. Oh no, that's Bev's. Let's do Shelly's. Oh, why do I keep pulling back?
Oh no, it was Shelly. The first one was Shelly's. I saw. I saw Shelly on the sheet.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I thought I saw it too.
There we go.
It is.
Oh, it's just my screen then that showed Bev's. Okay. And then I'm going to just make sure I have my notes on here. All right. So Shelly, this is what a typical human design chart looks like.
Okay.
So we're going to just talk about like on the right side here, we're just going to talk about all of these little points, because typically when you are in depth on a reading, you can talk about all of these centers, which is all the colored and the triangle and the squares. There's a whole lot of other information that goes with that. The lines that you see, whether it's colored or uncolored, there's also more information what those all mean. But for the time related things that we have here, we're just gonna kind of explain all the major stuff, which is your strategy and authority, and like some of the other stuff on the chart here. But let me just quickly.
Can I just mention to our listeners, the ones that are listening right now, Francis is showing my human design chart. And if you want to go ahead and see what that looks like, you can definitely go over to our YouTube channel and see what they look like.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right. So your type, so the energy type of human design, there's five different kinds. There's a manifesting generator, and you are one, Shelly. There's, the generator, manifester, the reflector, and the projector. So Managen is, or some people call it Managen, it's a combination of the manifestors, which initiates information, and generator energy, which has like kind of like do things. So actually they say that most of the population is composed of manifesting generator. So it's kind of like the workforce, because we have a lot of energy and we have a lot of ideas. So we are always moving, and you're in that energy type. This is your how you best express yourself in the world. You're manifesting generator energy. Okay. And one of the things here it is noted, you can see that multi-hyphenate, do everything, accomplish everything. It is super true. It's easy for you to have lots of ideas. It's easy for you to have lots of energy to do your ideas, but it's also easy for you to do everything and burn out and get overwhelmed and, try and do everything for everyone kind of thing. So that is an awareness of what your energy type is like and how you'd like to do things in the world, whether it's in your business or every day or even relationship. Because if you are with another manifesting generator, or if your partner is a manifesting generator, you're possibly constantly doing things together and creating and probably not finishing things or because there's that tendency for manifesting generator that you like something in a quick sense, but then you don't like it after, and you force yourself to finish. But ultimately, if it doesn't light you up, give yourself permission to not have to finish that until it lights you up again. So that is the energy type that you have, is you love to do things and initiate things. Does that resonate?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So your energy to respond to life or react to life is definitely a manifesting generator. Your decision strategy, so you can see it here, the strategy is called responding. And so you're more aligned if opportunity comes to you and you have an opportunity to say yes or no. Okay. So when you're the one actually doing the initiation, doing the decision, you will have that tendency to question if that is the right opportunity for you. But if someone comes in and say, hey, Shelly, we should go to a concert, and you actually want to go to a concert, and someone comes in and brings that to you, you will have an opportunity to say yes or no. And that's a good way to respond from a yes or no option. So going back to about, your restaurant story. So the best way to make the decision in that kind of situation, when people are bringing you all of these opportunities, is to allow options. So a yes or no option, not a buffet. So, because then you have a way to respond, a yes or no. So when you look at things, you're gonna go okay, do I feel that? Does that feel yes to me? Okay, if it's you're going that's that absolute no. Because one of the strategy of the manifesting generator is that if it's not a fuck yes, it is definitely a no. And even if it's like a maybe, that is a no. So because otherwise, if you follow that hesitation, you will have that other feeling again of second guessing it. So it has to be a yes, an absolute yes.
Yeah. I actually, it's funny you say that, because when I took my yoga training, the 200-hour, my instructor herself said, if it isn't a hell yes, it's a no.
Yeah.
So
and it'll show in your body. So it'll show in your chart here. It says the authority to make the way you make decision. It's a decision you can trust as well, not just a decision that someone tells you. It's how can you trust your decision is by listening to your gut, right? So it shows in this chart. So you wait for the opportunity to come to you, where you can say yes or no. And then your authority will, to say, how do you know that this is a hell yes, is your gut will tell you. But this one's very specific to a manifesting generator. So you can see on your chart here, like this is like it looks like a person on this square near to your root. It's a solid square.
Yeah.
So that is your sacral, like it's called the sacral decision maker. So if your sacral, so that's why it's solid and defined, because that's how you best align. It's like one of your strengths, actually. When a center is colored, that's where if you are in alignment to your design and you use this, these are your strengths. This is where you know yourself best. This is where you're less influenced by other people. So your sacral, your gut, listening to your gut is like one of the things you make is the one that helps you make aligned decision. But unique to the manifesting generator is actually that sound. So you ask me, how do you know how that I'm making this decision, and a yes. So grounding is really important for you. When you're making a decision, it's best when you're grounded. Don't make the decision when things are like flying in front of you. So you're find yourself in like in a grounded state, and then ask your sacral, okay, should I eat spaghetti today? Yes or no?
Right.
And then your sacral, in that grounded state, you can hear it. There's a sound in it that goes like, like, or like, or like, like it has that instantness to it. And so for me, when I was learning how to tune into this before, oh my God, because I'm so excitable, right? So right away, I'm just like, I just like excited to do things, but these are good things, but not everything has to be in that moment. So when I'm grounded, I can sense that right now my energy is best utilized in this yes now for this. And then, and then say, oh, okay, I don't have the energy for this one. I'm excited, but I don't have, so I go, like with these other things.
For sure. And I agree with that. I will say though, what you even said in the very beginning of the podcast, you said that, we're conditioned, right? And so, this information is definitely resonating with me, but at the same time, because I'm so conditioned to being very indecisive, that it sometimes still doesn't give me that, like, is this yes or no, right? so
the other thing that shows in your chart that helps you answer that question to our thought process is that this bottom part here, the last square, which is colored as well, this is your they call it the root. And so this is where you are more in your grounded. And this typically means, and there's a lot of influence in here too that would explain more, but this typically means that you function really well when you have a little bit of structure in your day or the things that you do. And when you have that structure, it helps you have, like, to unlearn all of these other things that were, you probably, even if you grew up being like thrown lots of different responsibility and you don't know if that responsibility is meant for you. So then having that grounded root structure in life, relationship, business, day-to-day activity, even like having a structure in your day, it helps you making that connection.
Oh yeah, totally.
In your own thing. So that it flows back to like, okay, now because you have structure, now you know that this is the things that you're doing is actually for you. And then you can make that sacral decision, because now you can go like, okay, like I'm a little bit more grounded because I'm not thrown off the track all the time. And that it helps you make those aligned decisions.
Totally. I love structure and routine. Like if I'm out of routine, I'm thrown off. Yeah, for sure. So definitely that.
Yeah.
So here's the next one here. You'll see the definition. It's called single definition. And it says there's an easy flow in your processing of information. So definition is about processing information that comes to you. And I love it because all of us are actually in the same, well, actually Bev is different. So you and I are about the same single definition, and then your profile is 2 to 4. So all three of us have the same kind of profile, 2 to 4. And the way that comes together to me, this definition means that you have an easy way of gathering information and interpreting it for yourself. And so you can quickly supposedly quickly understand what comes in for you, and then just use it to guide you towards your decision making. It doesn't require you another person or another validation to make the decision for you. So you can actually do this quickly by yourself. And knowing that you have a profile 2-4 in your chart, it also helps that it's called the hermit opportunist profile, or the easy breezy on the chart here, which means that you have an independent way of making decision. You have an independent way of working. So you like a lot of alone time in making these decisions too. You don't need, the more people actually tell you what to do, it kind of just gives you that. I
get overwhelmed.
I'm like, it doesn't help her.
No, and so
I get overwhelmed. That's for sure. I do agree with that, and that's one of my things is I literally love to be alone a lot. Like not like that, but like when I'm thinking or whatever, right? And that does help me tremendously. Yes.
Yeah, but the 4 part of your profile here is the opposite. You need an opportunity to get social, because the 2 helps you make decisions and helps you recalibrate your energy too, because we expand our energy. Like as manifesting generator, you always are giving away your energy. So as a 2, profile 2, it's good. Like you love to like be by yourself because it helps you just you just want that alone time a lot. You actually enjoy hermiting.
I do.
Yes, she does.
Yes, I do.
But the 4 is getting out there, socializing, networking is really good balance to have, especially in manifestation, because the people around you are the one that brings in the opportunity for you, right? So if you do too much of the 2, then you will internalize a lot, and you won't have a chance or an opportunity to respond to the things that you have. So your networks are actually what brings in all of these things for you to help you have that yes or no options and stuff. And maybe, you go to a networking event, and all of a sudden someone says something that sparks the one thing that you were thinking of. And that's where it keeps leading you to the things that your passions and the manifestations, right? So these are the ones that kind of sticks out for me when in terms of like work related things or business related things. How you're not in alignment, you're frustrated. So on your chart there, it says not self-team. If you're frustrated about that one thing, that it's time to recheck and see, like how can you make that conscious decision, or like you're knowing that, okay, I'm not in alignment to this thing, and give yourself permission to let that go. Even though if it's unfinished, just give that, because it's not, like we all know, it's not worth doing things that is no longer in alignment to us. Otherwise, unless you want to be frustrated all the time. So I mean, this is just a run through now, but this one's funny because the environment, the taste, and your strongest sense kind of feels to me when you're looking for your new space for your Reiki, because you're talking about like it, weren't sure, or like you're waiting and stuff like this. So you thrive in environment with like this cave. It says here, a place where you can choose who you're around, such as your home or social settings. It's very important for you to have the right space, and your strongest sense is your taste, or which means that when you come to a space and you know that's right for you, you can taste it. Like you have this, like it just tastes. I don't know how to describe it in a way. Like, when it was a description, it's so different for you. And Bev is different too. Hers is, I feel like it was a smell. I'm gonna check into Bev again. It's like hers, I think it's like the smell. So judging from what I know with Bev and how her center feels for me, and there's that scent, there's always that scent in her place, and I feel like that's almost very, very Bev like in terms of her design.
Well, hopefully it's a good scent.
It's how you determine your space is right for you. Is, you taste it first. You have that, it does, it doesn't taste right. Like in a way, you have that feeling in your body. So I don't know which of this. So it's cool. Like super quick because there's so much more about the whole centers and lines and all those little colored things.
So cool.
It is.
And on this side here, you can see the design on your chart on the right, and it says personality on the design on the left and personality on the right. These are all your astrology signs. These are your sun signs and moon and Mercury and things like that. So there's a lot about it that you could uncover, deeply.
Hey, well, cool. Thank you so much for that. I definitely resonate with a lot of those things. And I'm hoping that maybe one day we can kind of dive into it a little deeper, because I do have some questions.
Is that something that you do typically in your sessions, Frances? Is that you do dive in deeper? Like you
with the one that I currently have, I go and work it alongside with astrology. So I just kind of connect things in that, but I do use a lot of the personality aspect and design aspect in terms of alignment in business, just because there's a way and how you market based on your design, so that's where I go deeper, is like making sure we talk about more of like your personality in terms of your business and aligning you to that.
Awesome. Right. Cool.
So can everyone see Bev's chart?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
All right. So Bev is a little bit different from Shelly. So, and she definitely has a projector chart here, and it is her energy type. So Bev, you are a projector, that, you act on that. I can definitely see that happening. So the projector energy type, your leadership style is that so it says here on the chart, the seer, the people who can see a better, more efficient, upgraded approach or a specific thing. Hold on, my screen is covered. And are here to share that with others. So, which is very Bev-like.
Yeah. So, it feels like that to me for sure.
Yeah. And so basically projectors are guides. Their design, the design is not meant to work a lot. It's meant to guide and have more of a system. Shelly.
I didn't mean to laugh, but it just
and so it's more directing the work, and because you're more about like mastering systems. And because I know Bev, and it's when I was reading your chart last night, and it was so funny because you're in alignment, you're talking about like how you're in alignment this year, and you're like figuring things out, and you're eliminating things that no longer serves you in a way, right? Like you were cutting this and putting your schedule here, things like that. And that was like perfect for a projector, because projector do not exactly need to, like, they're, as a condition, we all act like a generator or manifesting generator. Like we all assume we have all this energy. But as a projector, we you don't, like, it's not meant to be that way in a design. It's like you can work in your energy as long as you don't do things that are not part of your system that you're trying to master. So
totally. My ear just started ringing really loud. Like, do you hear this right now, Bev?
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't mean to, like I said, I laughed at first because when she said, you're not supposed to be working as much or whatever. And I just thought,
Yeah. Well, and I felt like I knew what she meant by that, of like it's not forced. It's not to be like making things happen or making people do things. It's just literally just guiding people. And that is definitely what I love to do in my work, is just guide everything and everyone and all of that. But when I'm outside of work, more in like my personal life and organizing, of course, part of the Capricorn in me is like very much like I need to work to like organize everything and make it all happen and do all the things.
But I feel like the key of a projector profile is, or energy type, in because this is how you express yourself. It's like learning where in the outside of your work is still part of your masterpiece. Like, does it mean like, do you cooking? Like, I'm just gonna do like a more mundane things, cooking, cleaning things. Is that like really something that is worth your energy? Like, is that something that you need to master right now, or is that something you can delegate? Because yeah, like you get this part.
Totally. I used to love doing those things like that. I love doing those. I love cleaning. I don't mind cooking, but it seems since on our last podcast, our last episode, talking about the healing and the awakening is really at that point it was like I finally learned the lesson that I should have been doing already years ago, and that was to delegate more and to like organize things better. But leading with my heart is definitely sometimes gets me in trouble, but now it has changed where I've switched it. Now I have a cleaner, and like I'm delegating, things are getting off my plate. Yes, exactly, so that I can have that recover time, to bring in that energy as well.
Yeah. So one of the things I put in my notes, actually, it says here, projectors thrive outside of manual labor and in roles where they are directing the work instead of executing the work. So it really, outside of this chart, they say that projectors have a big role into the new, the new concept of the world right now, is that guiding people. There's a lot about guiding and being systematic, leading from the heart, things like that. So like, I feel like that's kind of speaks to you in that way too. And so talking about like how the strategy and authority of like making decision and how you feel good in your decision making. So your strategy is actually being invited. And so it's easy for a projector to want to help, to do this, like somebody, you see someone because you see it from on them, right? Like you can see the big picture. So it's easy for you to give advice. But oftentimes, one of the things that a projector could easily feel frustrated or bitter about is when they're not heard or seen for what they're good at, because you are good at a lot of things. But the being invited will help that in a way where your voice, your advice, your guidance is more aligned to your work and to them when they actually invite you to it. So like gatherings that you're invited to, and all of a sudden, so that is an environment where they're ready for you. But if you push yourself in a situation and then just blurt out, this is like a very theory kind, when you force yourself to just like, okay, like giving out dishing advice to people in random places, and they're like, and then they just kind of say other things, you'll feel bitter for not not having been considered for your advice.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if someone actually comes to you in your space, in your world, or even invite you to like a business event and are ready for you, and they're listening to you, that's when you're like in your aligned strategy and ways of like doing things, because you feel like you're doing your work.
Totally. I feel that very much. That's on point for me. I've learned over the years that I don't do that anyway, of like just putting it out there, because I know how that makes me feel. So I don't bother anymore. It's just like, nope. So I just wait for the opportunity to, where they're asking for it and they're wanting it. Then that's when I'm like thriving. I'm just like, here you go. I'll give you all the guidance you want. You know?
You're just like giving and giving them, like when we come into your space, right? And then like ask for that guidance and like spiritual advice, spiritual mentorship. That's a perfect description of that. And because now you can like keep giving.
Yeah. Well, they want it. They're open. And I'm like, I've been invited. So here you go. That's why I love what I do, because it's in alignment with, I feel like, how I am and what feels right inside for me. So, which then also helps others, which is what I also love to do. So it kind of seems like a good fit for me.
And then the way you make decisions is also like, your authority is listening to your instinct, and your instinct is your survival in there, how it helps you keep you alive. And you always been the teacher on, like intuition, listening to your intuition, guidance system, things like that. And this is how you also do your own decision making in life, business, and every day.
Right.
And then
in alignment.
And then your definition here, though, is interesting, and this probably works with your relationship, like your husband and probably everyone else in your kind of circle. It says split definition. So unlike Shelly and myself, we have a single definition where we can make that independent decisions. For you actually want or need a sounding board or another person to have that way of like deciphering information, like just like you wanted to have someone else to talk to help kind of give you that, and then solidify, I guess, what your instincts or your intuition is trying to tell you too. So there's that kind of way of doing things for you, is that you need at least yourself and another person.
Yeah, so that's true. I do that. I'll have decisions to make and I'll know them, but it's almost like I'll just like tell my husband and say, okay, I really feel like I want to do this and I need to do this and I'm going to do it this way. And he'll be like, yeah, it all sounds great. Done. Like, okay, great. Just needed to like put it out there
sounding board.
And it's perfect, so yeah, that's perfect for me as well. I would say that's on point as well.
And then there's even like, it shows here on your chart too, like your intuition, this triangle, the second triangle on the top, and then your truth is also set colored. Both of them are colored, but they're connected with your line 11 and 56. So like you have that idea, you have that intuition, and then you express it, and that helps with all the manifestations it brings into you when you have that alignment of like listening and then saying it or taking action or communicating it in your chart too.
Awesome.
So the other thing that when you know that you're not in alignment, you feel bitter and you feel like you're just angry, I guess, or not liking things in your role.
Don't like it. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then your environment here, it says you thrive in environment. This is really, for me, when I saw this, it was like perfect. Environment, shores or melting pots, places where multiple different elements or cultures come together. It reminds me of your circle times and like that, or like creating gatherings that have that exchange. And probably in your home as well. It's kind of, I don't know how you work in your home, but that's kind of where you thrive the most, is when there's that kind of element of togetherness or different things. I feel like part of that is because you're learning, you love to learn. Projectors are actually one of the because they don't like to execute, they love to learn. So I feel part of the environment, part of this, and having other people gathering, is that you pick up lots of information that helps you more in what you're trying to master. So you're picking up all of those information, and your strongest sense here is smell. So that's where I was like, every time I go to Bev's center, it's like, for me, when I come in, there's always a sense of smell that feels either homey or feels like just really clean. And I don't know, like there's just that. And I feel like that's purposeful
awesome.
for her, that she goes with her nose.
Yeah.
Which the reason why I'm laughing is because
so funny.
You don't have a
yeah, I don't have a sense of smell. It's terrible. Honest to goodness. I can't even smell like skunk. Like we'll be driving and they're like, everyone's like, I can't smell. But
yeah,
I know what you're talking about though. It's
Yeah.
not like a literal smell for me.
Yeah, it's
because
just
everybody that comes into the center will be like, they breathe in and they go, oh, I just love the smell in here. Oh, I just love that smell. And I'll be like, oh, like I didn't do anything, but like that, it just has a smell.
yeah.
But I know what they're talking about. And I feel like it's just a smell that resonates with them, that it just makes them feel like, okay, I'm okay here, or I can feel grounded here. I can breathe here, or whatever that smell does for them, or it's relief. But there is a smell. I know what you mean, but I don't know literally what the smell is.
But for you, this also speaks about your like how you know if something is off in your environment, or how you want to get your environment more that speaks to you. It's like you're going with, what do you pick up with the scent? So if I know you said you can't really smell a lot of these things, but I don't know, you kind of wrinkle your nose when your guides are there. You kind of go with your nose.
Always.
I don't know, like you go with this scent.
It's the breathing all the time. I breathe all the time when something comes in, I'm like, okay, who's here? Like I do the breath a lot. And I even, when, as you're saying that, I think, the image that comes to me is like a dog will use their scent to pick up information, right? And they tune into that energy, right? And so I feel very much that way. Not that I'm a dog, but it's like there is even though I can't really smell, but I use that sense to pick up my information in my environment. And I know that. So if something's off, that's where I feel like I pick it up the most. And it relays information to me that gives me that feeling. And I go, nah, something's here, or nope, this space needs to be cleared, or nope, I can't work with that person, because that's how I pick it up, but not in a literal smell. It doesn't have a smell to it, but the way I pick it up and perceive it in my body is into that feel. But that
you're
definitely
always
makes sense.
Your nose. But
definitely.
so like all of this, like your chart has a lot of, like, to me, just because I personally know you, right? So I can tell like all of these open centers are mean something, and how it means to you in your work. A lot of the human design, I'm going to shut off the thing and switch to Shelly quickly here, but a lot of the human design is also knowing where you're easily influenced. So you can see on your chart if those centers are not colored. These are centers that you can easily get influence from your external environment or people around you, or how you also amplify some of these energies based on those centers. So like if you have an open crown, you tend to get a lot of ideas and then decipher that through your intuition to your throat, and manifest by speaking about it or expressing about it. So a lot of the human design can show you how to be in that state of alignment, state of manifestation as well, and then acting from that, so that you can like have fun doing these things that is right for you, not right for everyone else, but what's right for you.
Amazing. That is so cool. I love
cool.
that. It was so cool just to see, well, to have you do a reading for us and to also read us in a way that is totally us, but in a totally different way, you know, and just bringing more awareness in this tool based off of our charts and bringing everything together. And it's like, wow, that is so cool, because it's like you're just literally, I felt like you were just reading us completely, like inside, right? Like it's not just like, you know, what's going on in our mind, like you're reading my mind, get out of my thoughts, you know, not like that kind of a reading, but it was like a reading of like, wow, you just read who I am and how I work and how I pick up on things that aren't even that you can't even see, right? So it's just like that in alignment. That is so cool. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
That's amazing.
So how can someone, if someone was interested in human design and wanted to have you know, one for themselves, how would they be able to reach you, Frances?
So they can check me out on my Instagram account. There's a link as well there to book an aligned strategy session with me. And this is where I do my human design reading that incorporates not just the human design, but also astrology and numerology to help make that more cohesive way of making decision for whether their business or their, you know, their day-to-day as well. So they can go on my Instagram or go to my website, franceslu.com, to get more information about all of that. And they could also, when they do that special for this podcast today, they can use a discount code to get 50% off for their first aligned strategy session with me. So if they can make note, the discount code is human design 11. So all small letters, it's human design 11 for a 50% off.
Amazing.
Okay, well, I will definitely, or we will definitely share those in our Empath Sisters Instagram and Facebook. So we'll add those links and the promo code for those that are interested. And so happy to have you today.
Thank you so much. Like, I can't even imagine. I just want to have a full aligned session, because
me too.
to incorporate the astrology, the numerology and everything, I think that would just be so exciting. I mean, I already loved this reading that you shared with me and Shelly today. Thank you so much for that. And for all of our listeners on podcasts who are not watching on YouTube, I would say definitely check out franceslu.com and use that discount code that she is offering from this podcast, human design, all lowercase 11. So you should definitely take advantage of that.
Before I forget as well, like, so if people are new to human design altogether, if this is like a very new concept and you want to learn more, I do have some upcoming workshops in the works in the next few weeks here. So in order to just check that out or be aware, they can subscribe to my email list as well by going on my franceslu.com, or making sure to be on my, just click and follow on the Frances Business Coach on Instagram, so that they can be aware in the future dates on any workshop on human design and also for breath work. So a lot of those things are really good.
That's amazing.
We will definitely add all those things to our pages and make sure that you all have information. And again, thank you so much. And it was wonderful. Yes, thank you. And thank you to everyone. And thank you for listening to the Empath Sisters today. We're sending you love, light, and gratitude wherever you may find this. So have a good day.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.